I asked the 5 biggest AIs to pick the best player ever for each position. Everyone has their own opinion on who's the GOAT of each position, but now we'll let AI decide. I've sent this prompt to all 5 of them, asking to pick one player per position based on its own criteria, so each one will cast a vote. The player with the most votes will enter the squad. Starting with the leader of the team, the manager. Who's the GOAT of the coaches? Well, ChatGPT chose Johan Cruyff. I didn't see that coming. Cruyff was the manager who revolutionized Barcelona, having a team with players like Pep Guardiola and winning the club's first Champions League title. But unlike ChatGPT, Grok voted for someone else, Alex Ferguson.
And 13 Premier League titles!
Now it's up for the other 3 to decide, and Grok wasn't alone. Lusha, Gemini and DeepSeek also voted for him, giving Ferguson the first spot on the team. Now that we have our manager, I also let the AIs choose the formation, and here there was a consensus, 4-3-3. So let's go to the goalkeeper, where Grok voted for him, Lev Yashin. If you don't know him, he's literally the only keeper in history to win the Ballon d'Or. He even won the UEFA Euro with the Soviet Union. He played amazingly well in the 1958 and 1962 World Cups and revolutionized the position, so much that in 1963 he was named the best player in the world. But there are other legendary keepers, Buffon, Neuer, etc. However, ChatGPT also voted for Yashin, followed by Lusha, Gemini and DeepSeek, a full consensus. But now for the center backs, there wasn't much agreement. For the first defender, the French AI Lusha voted for Franco Baresi. He was a defender who literally spent 20 years at AC Milan, over 10 as captain, winning 3 Champions League titles. But Google Gemini didn't choose him. It went with Bobby Moore, another great defender who was West Ham's captain for over a decade, but most importantly, leading England in the 1966 World Cup. Now for ChatGPT, instead of choosing between these 2, it went with yet another defender, Sergio Ramos.
Yes, it is! What a header!
Yeah, 3 votes, 3 different players. So the decision will be between Grok and DeepSeek, who voted for Sergio Ramos again. With 3 out of 5 votes, Sergio Ramos makes it into the GOAT team. It's no wonder. 4 Champions League titles, 5 La Ligas, 2 UEFA Euros, World Cup, and he has almost the same number of career goals as Zidane, believe it or not. Let's just not talk about red cards. But there's another center back yet to be chosen, and Grok picked him, Franz Beckenbauer. If it's difficult for a defender to win a Ballon d'Or, Beckenbauer has 2. He revolutionized the role, being a defender who also attacked. Also, besides those Ballon d'Ors, he also won the World Cup, the UEFA Euro, 3 European Cups, and many more titles. He was such a legend that literally all the other AIs also voted for him, a consensus. The AIs agreed with each other, but that will not last long. So the backline is set, Sergio Ramos and Beckenbauer. Let's move on to the next position, the left back. Throughout history, there were legendary left backs, but ChatGPT chose him, Paolo Maldini. Maldini won the Champions League twice as a center back, but from the 80s up until the early 2000s, he was Milan's left back, winning 3 Champions Leagues in that role. Yeah, he finished his career with 5 titles and even finished as runner-up 3 more times. Also, as a left back for Italy, he reached the World Cup final, finishing 3rd in the Ballon d'Or. But there are other legendary left backs, like Roberto Carlos, Marcelo, etc. Even so, Grok voted for Maldini, Lusha also voted for him, followed by Gemini and DeepSeek. A total consensus again. It's gonna be for the midfielders that they'll have the biggest disagreements. So now that we have our left back, before moving to midfield, let's go to the right back. There have been many legendary players for this position too. So Google Gemini placed his vote for Marcos Moraes, better known as Cafu. Cafu is considered one of the best right backs ever, thanks for his stamina, insane consistency and technical skills. But maybe he wouldn't be considered as so if it weren't for his titles. He won every possible trophy for his Brazilian club, Serie A with Roma, Serie A with Milan, Champions League and Club World Cup. But most importantly, he became the only player ever to play 3 World Cup finals in a row, winning 2 of them. So no wonder that apart from Gemini, all the others also voted for Cafu, giving him a spot in the GOAT team. This defense is simply incredible. But if the AIs agreed on the left and right backs, let's go to the part where they really started to disagree with each other. So to balance our team, it has one defensive midfielder, one central midfielder, and one attacking midfielder. So for the best defensive midfielder ever, Germany voted for him, Roy Keane. Keane was a captain of Man United during one of its most dominant eras. He played there from 93 up until 2005, being the leader on the pitch with strong defending and also building plays. He literally won 7 Premier League titles, the 1999 Champions League and more. Still, Grock disagreed with Germany, voting for another completely different player, Claude Makelele. The Frenchman played for Real Madrid, Chelsea, PSG, and he was so important that when he left Madrid, Zidane said that the team had lost its engine. But for me, calling him the greatest defensive midfielder of all time is a bit of a stretch. And ChatGPT agrees with me, cause it didn't vote for him, but also didn't vote for Keane. Instead, it chose Lothar Matthäus. He was Germany's captain in the 1990 World Cup, where they beat Maradona's Argentina in the final. He was the leader of the German national team, playing 4 UEFA Euros and 5 World Cups. At club level, he also won several Bundesligas with Bayern Munich and a Serie A with Inter Milan. He was a super technical, physical and consistent midfielder. So much that in 1990, he literally won the Ballon d'Or. The competition for the best defensive midfielder is intense, until the French AI Le Chat also voted for Matthäus. So the final vote was from DeepSeek, which confirmed his victory. With 3 out of 5 votes, Matthäus makes it into the team. But now let's go to a position full of legends, the central midfielder. So many icons have played here that if you asked 5 different people, you'd get 5 different answers. But let's see who the AIs voted for. Starting with Grock, who went for Zinedine Zidane.
It pops out to Zidane! A moment of magic!
Even though he played more like an attacking midfielder, Grock chose to put him here. He had insane technique to dominate the midfield, having the trophies to match. 1 World Cup, scoring 2 goals in the final, another World Cup runner-up, also scoring in the final, UEFA Euro and Champions League, also scoring in the final. So no wonder that he also won a Ballon d'Or. But even though Zidane had a career that big, ChatGPT didn't vote for him. Instead, it went with Xavi Hernandez. Over 17 years at Barcelona, 4 Champions League titles, 2 UEFA Euros and 1 World Cup. But it's not just about titles. He had an unreal passing accuracy, being the heart of the tiki-taka. He even finished on the Ballon d'Or podium 3 years in a row. So this battle is intense, even more so because the French AI disagreed with both of them, voting for Johan Cruyff. Yeah, 3 AIs, 3 different votes. If Xavi finished 3rd in the Ballon d'Or, Cruyff won it 3 times. He also led Ajax to 3 European Cups in a row, also being the World Cup runner-up. He redefined how football was played, influencing it forever. This battle is crazy, so the decision will come down to Germany and DeepSeek, where both voted for the same guy, Xavi Hernandez. With 3 out of 5 votes, the AIs consider Xavi the best central midfielder ever. But before moving on to the forwards, there's still one position to cover, the attacking midfielder. Who's gonna take the iconic number 10 role? Up until now, the AIs disagreed a lot, but for this position, they were in a total agreement. With 5 out of 5 votes, the greatest attacking midfielder ever according to AI is him, Diego Maradona.
And now motors up through the gears, and he's beaten Butcher, and he's beaten Fennick. It's Diego Maradona, and it is quite magnificent.
Not even 1 vote against, that's crazy. But it makes sense, Maradona has always been in discussion for the greatest player of all time. In the 1986 World Cup, he had 10 goal contributions in just 7 games. Yeah, one of them was with his hand, but it counted as a goal. Also winning titles with Napoli, Barcelona, showing amazing skills. So we have 3 more players for the AIs to choose, left winger, right winger and forward. And for the left wing, the player that Germany chose surprised me, Johan Cruyff. Yeah, Cruyff's name showed up as a manager, central midfielder and now as a left winger. That shows how incredible he was. But calling him the greatest left winger is pushing a little, so much that ChatGPT disagreed, voting for someone else, Cristiano Ronaldo. Everyone saw that coming. Now he plays as a center forward, but played in that position almost part of his career, becoming the top scorer of the Champions League, Real Madrid, UEFA Euro, international football and so on, nearing 1,000 career goals. On top of that, UEFA Euro winner, 5 Champions League titles and 5 Ballon d'Ors. So it was not just ChatGPT. Grok, Lusha, and DeepSeek also voted for him. Ronaldo's in the squad. Now let's move on to the right wing. And if the left wing had at least 2 different names, this one was undisputed. All AIs chose Lionel Messi.
Here he is again. That's astonishing. It's absolutely world class.
With over 860 career goals, Messi is literally the player with the most trophies ever. 4 Champions Leagues, 10 La Ligas, 2 Copa Americas, and most importantly, the World Cup. A total of 45 trophies. But what will make Messi's name be remembered for centuries is a record that will never be broken. 8 Ballon d'Ors. We could be all day talking about Messi and Ronaldo here, but now that he secured his spot on the team, let's move on to the final position, the striker. Well, this is another spot that is full of legends, but ChatGPT voted for him, Ronaldo, the R9. At just 20 years old, Ronaldo for Barcelona reached 60 goal contributions in 49 games, becoming the youngest player ever to win the Ballon d'Or. And even after some serious injuries, in 2002 he came back as a goal machine, scoring 8 goals in the 2002 World Cup, winning yet another Ballon d'Or, a true legend. But there are other names like Romario, Gerd Müller, Lewandowski, etc. So let's see the other votes. And Grok placed his vote on him. Pelé, the only player ever to win 3 World Cups, scoring in the final in 2 of them. It was because of him that the number 10 became associated with the best player on the team. Football is divided into before and after Pelé. With over 1,000 goals in his career, he changed the game forever. So even though he played more of an attacking midfielder or supporting striker, not just Grok, but Lusha, Gemini, and DeepSeek voted for him. Our GOAT team is complete. Would you make any changes? Comment down below. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this other one that I posted. Thanks for watching and bye!